Thank you for joining us for another installment of Leadership Live, where I, Monica Stitch from Zoho for Enterprise, interview high-level executives and thought leaders on all things technology. I'm super excited today for one of our biggest, our most widely attended Leadership Lives. We have Shivani Agarwal from McLean Company. She's responsible for IT infrastructure across all distribution centers, data centers, and facilities in McLean Company, which is a supply chain leader with over $50 billion in annual revenue. She also heads efforts in information security, enterprise architecture, and IT operations and services. Thank you so much for joining us today, Shivani.
Hey, Annika, so glad to be here. First of all, transformation is one of my favorite topics to talk about, right? I feel like it's one of the most overused words in technology these days. In 2021, there's a study that says that $1.5 trillion was spent on digital transformation globally. $1.5 trillion in 2021. By the end of this year, it is supposed to reach $6.8 trillion as more and more businesses make this their priority. Since the pandemic, there has been an exponential growth in the number of businesses that started, mostly digital businesses. And while many of the businesses may not have sustained or will not sustain long enough, they have shown the consumers the art of the possible. What can be done digitally, what to expect from the businesses. And this has completely changed forever the expectations we have as consumers from the businesses. And I'm not talking about just retail or B2C. The consumers can be an individual or a business, but the expectations are the same, right? More digital, frictionless, elegant, seamless customer experience. 50% of the companies without a digital transformation believe that they have less than a year before they start losing market share. And the companies that haven't started this digital transformation, like over 60% of them think that it's already too late. So the risk of not implementing a digital strategy is clear, right? It's about survival. Digital or die. Now, the question was, what is the risk with implementing the digital strategy? And really, in my mind, the risks associated with doing or not doing the digital transformation can be answered by a very fundamental question. Why? Why does a particular business want to do digital transformation? Are you serious about developing a strategy and executing to it? Or do you think this is just a trend that is going to be over soon, but you don't want your customers to think of you as archaic, so you join the parade half-heartedly, right? The seriousness of it is determined by who is the sponsor for this digital transformation at your company. And if it is not the CEO, then I feel like you're not starting out with a successful model. Because transformation is like a metamorphosis. What goes into it is a caterpillar. That is the look and feel. That is the business model before you transform. And that model is right for the company at that stage. But what comes out of it is a butterfly. And so it's completely different, not just the look and feel, but the guts of the enterprise are different, and it's a brand new operational model. As with any massive change, this requires money, the multi-year journey, and outcome of a completely different operation model, right? So are the leaders in your company ready for this massive change to the way they have conducted their business? About 87% of the business leaders think that digital transformation will disrupt their industry and bring them success. But over half of these feel that their own organizations are not prepared for this disruption. And therein lies the risk.
So you're saying there's also a lot of risk in, or at least there's perceived risk in digitally transforming your business. Have you had any experience with that in working with leadership in maybe past companies or things like that, or even just people that you've met in passing?
Yeah, it's again about where you start and how you're going about it. One of the things is people think about just changing the wrapper, changing what the look and feel of it at the front. And that may be a good start, where you're just looking at changing, refreshing the company's presence, right? But behind the scene, the customer journey has to change also. You have to define that. And I think that's where what happens is that people either succeed or businesses succeed or they put it up on a shelf as what they deem as the reason and what they deem as the areas for transformation. I don't know if that answers your question, Anika.
It absolutely does. Yes, thank you. We had sort of like our juicy, spicy question as well, which is about something very timely. And this is something I emailed Shivani about sort of really quickly, like, hey, this is coming up all the time on my feed. Would you be comfortable talking about it? And that is ChatGPT. That is something very disruptive. It's very innovative. And I just wanted to hear sort of your thoughts on ChatGPT and also AI technology in general, if you feel like sharing.
Oh my goodness, this is a really hot topic, and I'm sure it's one of the hottest topics at RSA that's going on right now, right? Or was over yesterday. Really, just like many technology leaders, I believe that this generative AI is transformation. ChatGPT 4 or 5 when it comes. The transformation and disruption this will bring is at a scale like when fire transformed civilization or like when electricity did. It is absolutely thrilling. And it is coming to us so fast. And I asked the same question as I did with the previous thing. Are we as a society ready for this? Several months ago, Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak, and so many others signed this appeal to stop training AI for at least 6 months to prepare. There was an analysis done by the Swiss bank UBS that ChatGPT is the fastest growing app of all time, and that their analysis said that it got 100 million active users within 2 months of its launch. And if you compare it to like TikTok, it took TikTok 9 months to reach that 100 million users. So this is how fast it's happening. I don't know if you watched, Anika, the 60 Minutes, where Sundar Pichai was talking to Scott Pelley, right, about this topic. And the way I looked at it is there are some risks and some preparation that we as society need to do, right? So Scott got a preview of Google's AI product Bard, right? And Scott Pelley gave it 6 words and asked it to finish the story. And in 5 seconds, they got a beautiful story that was generated. So my question is, who's the author of that story? Is it Scott Pelley who fed the ideas and the words to Bard? Or is it Google as Bard's owner? If that story or the book is a bestseller, who gets the royalty from it?
That is such a great question. Yeah, I feel like all of these new technologies, especially things like ChatGPT, they really sort of put us in this spot where we have to think about the things like authorship and even maybe like copyrights and the ethics of certain things like that. And it just really also opens up a huge conversation that has just that just spawns everywhere, that just can go out everywhere and touches so many things.
Did you read the news about Samsung, right? So three Samsung employees, it was reported, it was in the news, right? They leaked, I don't know why it was called leak, but that's how the news said, leaked sensitive data to ChatGPT. And so what if somebody shares some snippet of a chip design, and then the AI uses it to create a better new chip design? So who owns the patent? And there's still, there's not a determination of that yet. Samsung sent a warning to its workers saying, hey, there's potential danger in leaking confidential information, and it is impossible to retrieve this information that's now stored on the servers belonging to OpenAI. And doesn't look like Samsung has any recourse to request the retrieval or deletion of the sensitive data. So Sundar Pichai is asking the government to build regulations, and I feel like HR across the globe is adding language in the employment contract about non-disclosure of intellectual property, and including words around this generative AI, right? So major risks, but the technology leaders are deeply aware of it, but they're also racing to build their own products faster than the others.
That is so exciting to see sort of this race come up. And also it's really interesting to see these companies who are ready and willing to put that into their contracts about having specific language around this AI. That's actually amazing to me. As we were talking about this, like leading up to this event, and we came up with the sort of tagline "Transform or Perish," because that's really what it is. You really do have to be ready to pivot on a dime. And I feel like someone in your position has probably experienced that many times over the course of your career.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the old adage, right? Change is the only constant, right? So you have to be ready for it. And same thing with this generative AI. We have to, as business leaders, we must get educated about it. We must prepare ourselves and our business for it, because it's here. The movement is here, right? Whether we're ready or not. Really, a lot of CEOs and CIOs are looking at this as a tool for massive productivity gain. So many jobs will be transformed, some will become redundant, new ones will emerge. And I'm really excited about some of the things I'm seeing in the industry already, where the productivity gains are being done, right? Microsoft, I feel like, is a leader in this space right now, and they came up with the M365 Copilot. And Copilot in Word, as an example, it just, across all the Microsoft 365 applications, you can use it. In Word, you can jumpstart what you have to write, because Copilot will give you the first draft to edit and iterate on. So you won't have that writer's block starting out, right? GitHub Copilot. I think what we're hearing is over 80% of the developers are saying that they're more productive when they use that. And there's Microsoft's Security Copilot that pulls in alerts and notifications, and puts it in one place for you. I think they just recently introduced a business chat where you can give it like a natural language prompt that says, hey, what is our update on product X? And it'll go across all your chat and emails and meeting notes, and then create a status update. And to me, all that time that we spend in doing these things are now somebody else is taking care of. Your digital assistant is taking care of it, while you have more time to take care of other things like building a strategy. Anika, I'm also very excited about some of the security cybersecurity products that are coming out. Veracode, I heard, has their AI product that not only scans the code, but will suggest fixes for the flaws in the code and other repos. So a lot of these productivity gain tools are coming. I want to go back to the risk, what this generative AI, the output of it, what it is bringing out is it's learning from us, whatever we feed it. So it can be good or it can be harmful, because just like as us humans, right, what we are putting in here is it for making these productivity tools, or is it for some nefarious use? And so we have to be really careful about how it's being trained. And I think that's why those leaders had put in this caution, Italy banned ChatGPT, I think because we have to be ready for what is coming out of it. I was just thinking, so let's say if I use this generative AI to create code, and then I bring in that code and implement it in my environment. Who is to say there is not like this embedded Easter egg to learn more about my environment, but learn it from a sinister motive, right? The ransomware comes into mind. So cybersecurity companies, they must be racing to build tools to monitor. It's like a company's own code in a way. Really understand the difference between AI generated code and human code, so they can monitor it better and prevent attack from its own code that is running in our own environment. So it's just the risks and the potential, they're both just so amazing, and we just have to be ready for it.
It's true. It's true. And you bring up a great point. And it's also one of those things where it's like, well, no risk, no reward. But we have to also really think deeply about, well, what is worth the risk, And when we look at, you had mentioned sort of, how are we training these algorithms, and where is that data coming from? And obviously I come from an organization, a company that has very stringent data privacy policies. So there's certain vendors that we won't even work with because we follow the thread into the privacy policy to see, well, where is this data coming from? And I think that's also one of those risks that we do have to be aware of, and you have to really deeply know what you're getting into.
It's very thrilling, though. You got to catch the wave, the momentum, build your own tools, or get your organization ready to use it for the goodness of the business. And we were talking about transformation of the business. This will transform the business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to say that thank you to everyone in the audience. I don't know if you can see on your end, Shivani, but we're getting really great engagement. So thank you to Joshua and Deepak and Deverin for your comments. I want to put a couple of these on just to show you, everything that you're touching on. We're talking about, well, who owns the IP for something that's generated through something like ChatGPT or competing products, and also Joshua, who's responding to someone else in the comments, just saying, we were talking about metaverse versus ChatGPT and the expectations for metaverse, and we're already seeing that ChatGPT does have a rapid growth, like you mentioned, just in 1 month, reaching that number that TikTok took 9 months to grow to. So I just wanted to shout out to our audience members, thank you for your comments. It's really awesome to see this engagement. And thank you to Shivani for being our thought leader on this, because this has been a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Annika. It was real fun talking to you.
Thank you. I have one final question for you because we are getting to the end of our time, if you have time for it, which is, do you have any advice for leaders who are pushing their organizations to sort of innovate beyond those legacy systems?
Yeah, so here's my framework. It's like 6-point framework, you can say, and not just mine. I think every leader who's done this successfully has used pieces of it or different versions of it, right? Really, first, it all starts with building a culture of innovation. You have to encourage the people and empower them to think outside the box and take risks. So you have to create the safe space for fast fails and learning. That's the only way we can drive more innovation. Second, and really critical, is communicate the vision. People have to understand what this change is going to bring in, what are the benefits that the organization is going to gain. If they feel invested in it, if they know what's coming and why it's coming. The third is start small. Don't boil the ocean. It can be overwhelming. So find that small area that innovation can be pressure tested, and then use that success, scale it up, and success breeds success, right? So use that approach, build momentum, gain more buy-in, get confident about it. Involve employees in the process, right? So that part, communication, but also from the beginning, they have to feel invested in it. It is a grassroots movement, not something that is coming from top down. So involvement at every stage. And then create OKRs, metrics, measurements along the way, even if they are just for the initial stages. You have to know, people know that they got what they were aiming for, that they got there successfully. Celebrate the success, celebrate even the fail fast experiments. And so again, this is about, okay, we're going in the right direction, we're getting there. And then the last point is, I want to say, build it for sustainability. Starting something new is relatively, the keyword is relatively, easier than sustaining it. So make sure you have a plan for supportability and scalability. Don't just pick bricklayers to build this. Include firefighters in your team also as you're doing this innovation and transformation from legacy to modern.
That is some really good advice. I feel like that is advice that people would pay a very high hourly rate for. So thank you for, providing that to our audience for free. And thank you for generously donating your time to talk with me today. I think we're coming up on our last minute. Do you have any final thoughts or anything that you want to wrap up on?
Just like I said, even in daily practice, the things that I do at work or my daily thing, I really look at what is my goal for the day? What is my goal for the week when I start? What is my goal for the day? I spend time in doing the things that help me stay productive rather than cleaning my inbox. So start small, set goals, measure them, and then get more confident about how you're going along. And to me, learning from my SMEs about the changes that are important, the changes that we must do now, and then prioritizing them, that is the way that I approach my week, my work week, and my work day. So hopefully that helps. I know that was a long answer, Anika, and I'm sorry if I ran you over time.
No, thank you. I will take all the time that you're willing to spare. So thank you for that. Thank you all so much for joining us for Zoho for Enterprises Leadership Live. I'm so excited to see you next month in May, and I hope you'll tune in then. Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you everyone in the comments for your thoughtful feedback. We hope to see you again next month. Bye, take care.